taking command of your thoughts so that they no longer take control of you. Welcome to this week's World Affairs Truth Report number 11. I'm Helen Jane Rose. If you're just joining us for the first time, I'm a channel, an author, an automatic writer and an energy healer. And these reports have come from a book that I wrote a few years ago called The Coming Times, which was written through automatic writing. And it's guidance and messages from the Divine Council. And they then asked myself, my partner, my lovely partner Ged, who will be joining me, who is a cranial sacral therapist, an acupuncturist and a amazing energy healer. And so we were asked to, it's a continuation from the Coming Times, to start doing weekly World Affairs Truth Reports where I automatically write the report and then I read it out verbatim, and then Ged joins me and he unpacks those reports, bringing his wisdom to the reports. And if you want to know a little bit more about us, we did an interview together where Ged's interviewing me here on our YouTube channel, The Coming Times Unpacked, which you can find in the caption below this video. Okay, so I am going to just read out verbatim the report that I've written down for this week. Welcome, beautiful souls, to this week's World Affairs Truth Report number 11. We wish to pause for a moment before speaking to you, to ask you if you will consciously open your heart to us. Nothing is really asked of you, just to sit for a moment with your focus on your heart, drawing yourself consciously away from your mind. A moment of respite, if you will. A shift from your mind to your heart in this moment. A conscious decision to put your awareness there, onto your heart and away from your mind. A momentary intention to listen with your heart and try to stay there. Even if it's just for the next few minutes whilst we have your attention, you will still be doing great service to you. However tempting it is to try and work everything out with your mind, to just pause for a moment and be present with us. Present to our words, but more importantly, to the frequency that we are channeling through to you. It is a frequency of peace that resides at the heart of you, that becomes most familiar to you. But it takes practice to consciously shift from the mind to the heart. And that is what we are encouraging you to do. When we talk about the heart, we are really talking about the energy of the soul. You connect to that part of you when you consciously decide to. It does take practice to genuinely feel the energy of your heart, your soul. It sits in the background, waiting patiently for you. But it understands how hard it is for you to do this, because it means letting go of so much that has felt so natural to you. Like thinking for instance. It's the most unnatural thing to start to be asked to think less and become more present to the moment instead. To start to question your thinking that feels so real to you. The thoughts that swirl around your head, holding you hostage in your own head. The freedom that true presence brings to you when you start to realise how futile your thinking really is, even though it feels like the only way to function to you. To just stop for a moment and realise how many thousands of thoughts circle around inside of you. The constant ambush of trying to work out so much. The dependency on what you have always known to be true for you. To be asked to start to think less is a hard thing to try and do. A new way of being is being asked of you. Your soul self speaks to you in the present, but not how you are used to. It communicates softly in the in-between of your thinking. Sometimes it gets your attention by perceived bad things happening to you. The moments in life where your thinking mind just can't fathom what to do. The soul self speaks to you in the present. It's in the moment that you feel it alive within you. It doesn't speak in words, but through feelings. The more you put your attention on how you are feeling, the more you can activate the connection within you. If you're always in your head, you are denying the activation that can happen for you. That's why life comes in to assist you. Everything is happening for you, even in those times when it feels like it isn't. It's those moments too, when you're in awe of a sunset or something in nature, that brings you back to you. It feels like it's the external that's affecting you, which to some extent, of course it is. Yet we remind you that it is actually taking you back to you. And that is the theme of this week's report, in assisting you in becoming stronger within you. Sharpening up your connection to you so that when the world becomes a little bit more crazier than it currently is, you are able to summon a feeling of peace and inner strength from within you. A feeling that despite what you might be witnessing, the divide, the fear, you are so strong in how it affects you. Not in a way that sees you being completely indifferent. No, in a way that enables you to hold the frequency of love at a time where there will be so much fear. What we speak of isn't a wishy-washy love. It's an inner knowing of the divine you. A knowing that things are having to play out the way that they are, and that a world divide is occurring. It's the split between the mind and the heart. This is the simplest way to explain what will occur. The ones who will be so steeped in fear that in many cases they will be forced to feel a sense of something bigger than them beckoning to them. offering them solace in a way they can't understand. And that's when those who we would call the wise ones come in and take the lead, showing the world that there's a different way to live and be. Your voices, causes, heart-led action and passions will all start to be more strongly activated now. They are coming from within you. There is purpose behind all that is delivered here to you today. Remember who you really are is what we are really wishing to say. A grand remembering is underway. I'm Helen Jane Rose, bringing you these messages and guidance from the Divine Council. And I'm just going to now just close my eyes and just see if any additional messages want to come through me in this moment. So I'm just going to tune in for a moment. Welcome, welcome, welcome to a moment of togetherness in a different way to what is accepted as a normal way of communication. And yes, it is very strange that one can speak the words of those effectively on the other side. Yet we explain that we come in from a very different dimension to yourselves, and we come in from a dimension that wholeheartedly, undisputably understands and functions from the frequency of unconditional love. And so, if you like, when we drop down into the frequency that dominates your planet, that of fear, our frequency can seem somewhat out of place. When we speak of love and finding love for oneself and for the planet as a whole. And in this moment, we wish not to bring words through this one. We wish to emit a frequency through to you. And we ask you, if you have the time in this moment, or to return when you do, to just quietly sit with your eyes closed and bringing your attention to what we will say for ease of understanding, your third eye, the space in between your eyebrows. And we ask that you, with your eyes closed, bring your awareness there and just pause for a moment as we connect with you in this moment through this portal, if you like, where with your conscious agreement we are able to meet you in this moment and deliver a pocket, if you like, an energetic pocket that is not bound by space nor by time. And in this moment we deliver to you a little moment in help, in helping you to feel more space between the moments of your thinking, to help you to expand the space between your thoughts, so that that space, that silence, that rests behind you, wanting more of your attention, can become more prominent for you. For it is the space, it is the silence between your thinking where your soul self can communicate to you. And so in this moment, to help your mind understand somewhat, we are delivering a little pocket of space to help expand within you. Perhaps you might in this moment be seeing a colour in your mind's eye, perhaps a symbol, perhaps a shape, perhaps you may feel a pulsing, or perhaps none of those things, and that is perfectly right too. Just sitting with you for a moment more. The mind cannot understand the processes that work from other dimensions for you. We call this soul conscious technology. These ideas, these knowings will start to activate more of you as they become more useful to you. Just a few moments more, sitting in this space that's been created for you, allowing whatever is taking place in your mind, perhaps the ambush of thinking becoming more prominent, and that all has a purpose. Just a few moments more. And we say thank you. Thank you for this time together. Thank you for your assistance in allowing yourself to become a greater strength of peace in a world that desperately needs your frequency. Even if you feel you are perhaps not doing as much as possibly you could be, know that you are. And we thank you for that. We thank you for being here. We thank you for giving your consciousness to what we say and trying to open in a way that is most unnatural for you at the moment, yet will become more and more and more familiar to you. We love you and thank you. Hi. Right. Okay. I will, can't really speak after that, feels strange. I will shuffle over and welcome Ged to come in.
Well, that was a gift. Thank you, Helen. Thank you, Divine Council. Yeah, I guess it might take me a minute or two to come back into that from that. I'll start with that because it's fresh in my mind because it's just happened. So it was slightly different to the previous 2 or 3 weeks channelings that Helen's done live at the end. It seems clear, or it's clarifying now for me anyway, that they're teaching us a new way to communicate. And they're nursing us through it because it's something very unusual for most of us. And it's a lot to do with finding peace or pause in your life and the presence awareness and the stillness so that the communication can come through in a different way. I mean, we're so used to the noise and the busyness of communication in whatever way, shape or form. That we're being asked to consider something completely opposite to that, basically. And so, and they briefly explained the unusualness of communicating with something or someone from another dimension or space. It's going to be unusual, going to look unusual, sound unusual until it doesn't, until it becomes our way, and it will do. There are people who have been channeling for a long time, and people who've followed them, it's a very normal thing. So it will normalise for everybody, and so will another form of communication, be it telepathy. One day I'll get that word right. Or just that inner knowing and intuition. And interestingly, they said, they referred to the fact that they're lowering their frequency to come down into our dimension where we operate out of fear. I guess my heart dropped a little bit at that. But at the same time, they're here to help us move out of that. So that's exciting. Because, we've operated out of a fear-based environment for so long. It feels normal to us. We can't really imagine what it's like to live in an unconditionally loving environment all of the time. So I feel strongly we've got something very exciting around the corner that's not too far away, and we're moving towards it now. And yeah, the sort of teaching us this new way to communicate, that they're talking about emitting frequency, so that I'm sure Helen would testify to that. There's the pockets of frequency that come in that then turn into words or expression, or in some way it's a different way to what we're used to, and that will become quicker, more instantaneous. At the moment, I guess we just have to sit with it and just feel into it a little bit. Your mind will question it, but the importance is the felt sense. So thank you for that lovely experience. Are you back with us yet?
No.
So this week's World Affairs Truth Report number 11, they gave the theme at the very end, which is a bit unusual, and And it said that it's taking the intention is to take you back to you, to remembering who we really are. And I think I mentioned in an earlier episode that was offered to me a long, long time ago. I didn't know what it meant at the time, and I'm still working that out, but I have a bit more clarity around it and understanding that there's so much more to us than what we perceive to be. That this person, and even other people, how you perceive them to be, what they mean for you, there's so much to them as well. And this journey is about peeling back all the layers and all the distortions and programming, so that we can reveal the truth of who we really are. Also an exciting prospect. So, two things: remembering who you really are and living in an unconditionally loving frequency. That's got to be good, hasn't it? I mean, it's got to be something to keep us focused and on the path. So a number of things stuck out for me on this one. Opening your heart. Slightly abstract comment, and what does that mean? Although they explain it a little bit, and I'll throw my 10 pence worth in. Moving from heart to mind. That's something I work a lot with, especially in acupuncture and the emotional realm. We'll unpack that a little bit. Finding that pause in your life to allow the communication to come through, that I've just explained about. The fascinating one for me was the heart as an extension of the soul. Something I've never heard anyone actually come out and say before, but it seems clear and obvious to me that it must be. Maybe people haven't mentioned it because it just is obvious and I haven't realised it. And asking us to focus on thinking, which is interesting because they're asking us to think about thinking, but in a very different way. So they're the things that stuck out, and they'll pop up as I read through this. So they're asking us to consciously open up our hearts to them. And I think if that's done just through observation, I mean, your heart opens if you're in the presence of loving people that love you, if you're in the presence of nature, the animal world, looking at the sun, nature, all of that stuff opens your heart. But you can do it just by putting your attention there. So, like, quantum physics, you pay attention, you focus on something, it changes. So the heart is beckoning us. It's like a portal, a gate that's waiting to open just purely by your intention. So they're drawing us to just pay attention to your heart so that they can come in through that space, through that gate that you're opening. A moment of respite, if you will, a shift from mind in this moment, a conscious decision to put your awareness there. So pausing allows for something to happen. I mean, that's, clear and obvious in a very literal sense. But what they're talking about here is opening that gateway, as I say. We have to be still at some point, and it doesn't have to be, you don't have to sit like Buddha forever. It's just moments of consciousness, like, okay, I'm ready, I'm here, you've got my attention. If you're like me, I have a busy mind that's wanting to know everything, wanting to know something all the time. And to ask your mind just to be still is a difficult thing. So you have to re-educate it to focus on something that's more aligned to peace, if you like. So you can have an intention to be peaceful. That's at least focusing in on something. You've got to draw your attention somewhere. Grab the attention of the mind and give it something to do. And also, if you're going into meditation, or just, let's call it pause, because that's what they did, have your intention that you want to feel better during and after the pause. So by that, you're raising your vibration. You want to feel differently, you want to feel lighter. That's an intention, and it's something your mind can go, oh, that's interesting. Let's focus on feeling different, feeling better than we do at the moment. So they say, even if it's just for the next few minutes whilst we have your attention, you will still be doing great service to you, however tempting it is to try and work everything out, just to pause for a moment and be present with us. Present to our words, but more importantly, the frequency that we are channeling through you. Again, they're talking about the method of communication is different. They're dropping in a frequency, they're adjusting our frequency. There's pockets of information coming through as frequency. We're being asked to think and feel differently. It's a frequency of peace that resides at the heart of you that becomes most familiar to you. But it takes practice to consciously shift from the mind to the heart, and that is what we're encouraging you to do. When we talk about the heart, we are really talking about the energy of the soul. You connect to that part of you when you consciously decide to. And like I said at the beginning, the heart being the extension of the soul was a fascinating idea for me, that, you know, we're born into Cartesian thinking. So Descartes was, I guess, the first guy that was known to have dissected the body and looked at all the separate organs, and it developed to the modern way of medicine. We pull things apart, we try and fix things, we take things out, and we're changing from that. Even though I guess I've been on this sort of journey for quite some time now, I hadn't joined the dots of the heart being connected from the soul, but that must be the connection, that must be the pathway through. And it set me off thinking about maybe the heart is got a leg in each dimension simultaneously, that it's here with us in this realm and it's also in the other realm at the same time. And the gift, but also the curse, is free will. In Chinese medicine, they have an interesting concept where they name all the organs and functions. They have a particular role. And the heart is considered as the supreme controller, or the emperor, which makes sense if it has this direct connection to soul energy. And the suggestion is that if the other organs and functions in the body either believe that the heart, they can't connect with the heart, or there's a lot of noise, they'll start to make their own mind up, and that's where free will comes in. And so another example would be the liver and the gallbladder. They're considered the planner and decision maker. Now, if they're not listening to the heart, they're going to be making their own minds up. And if it's based on history, if it's based on distortion, if it's based on conditioning, programming, then that's where the decision is going to come from. So unless you take time to pause and listen to your heart and connecting with your heart on both sides of the fence, undoubtedly, most of the time, you're going to be making decisions that are not necessarily in your favour. They're going to be coming from fear and trying to protect, or fear-based thinking. So for me, that's where the pause also can come in as, you know, a benefit to us. They say it does take practice to genuinely feel the energy of your heart, your soul. It sits in the background waiting patiently for you. But it understands how hard it is for you to do, because it does mean letting go of so much that has been felt so natural to you. I think we have to fully accept that significant change is happening to the planet, to the species. It's maybe something that we've considered as being impossible is actually very possible. The whole new way of a human experience. That's actually what's happening now, and it's a bit mind-boggling when you sit and think about that. We're in the process of a monumental change in the human experience, in the way we think, the way we feel. It even will manifest in the way we look. You know, if we lived a life without fear and a life of unconditionally loving each other and the planet, we'll stay a lot younger, a lot longer, because the pressure on the body, we won't be pumping cortisol and all the other unhelpful, chemicals into the body that rapidly age us. And so we've been asked to consider a monumental change, and This also reminds me of when I was training, studying to Chinese medicine to become an acupuncturist. I came from a background in shipping. I think, if I remember, maybe 3/4 of the class came from working environments and home environments that were in no way related to Chinese medicine. So we were all blindly accepting everything that we're being taught by this Chinese medicine, Eastern philosophy that was brand new to us, and we just accepted it and got on with it, and it was all fascinating. But there was a small amount of the class that came from a medical background, and if I remember rightly, they struggled. One or two of them didn't continue with it because they were so ingrained in their Western way of thinking, which is a wonderful thing, because that's how they've saved lives and lots of other fabulous things. We'd be completely lost without them. But in order for them to accept this new way of thinking was a lot further and a lot harder than it was for us. So maybe if you're just joining this sort of spirit path and jumping on board, you're in a much better place, because just blindly accept that you're going to be stepping into a world where new ways of communication are going to come in thick and fast, and you're going to start feeling and sensing things in your own self that's a bit weird, a bit odd, but now you'll kind of know where it's coming from. Your dreams will be different. They'll be so informative and you'll understand them. I wish I understood mine from last night, but we won't go into that just now. The other thing, I just made a note there, the difficulty in accepting this new way, that for me the catalyst for change is curiosity, and just having open mind, open heart, and be curious, get excited, step more into nature, entertain the weird and wonderful more, and be open to it, and it will start to inform you in ways that maybe you're not accepted before. They say thinking, for instance, is the most unnatural thing to start to be asked to think less and become more present to the moment instead. If you're honest, it's so easy to follow a thread of negativity. Sometimes you're wondering, a thought will come into your mind and it will just run down a rabbit hole of craziness, and you're thinking, how on earth? So you imagine that topsy-turvy, where a topic comes into your mind and it goes the other way, where it's absolutely positive, it's loving, it's creative. We've been asked to do that, to arrest the rabbit hole scenario and turn it into a cosmic scenario, send it in the other direction. It is possible. You just have to really put the brakes on and look at the scenario, the topic that came in, and turn it in the other direction. I wonder what would happen if it went this way. And it is possible. It's a lot more effort at first, but one day it will become natural. It will become the way that we operate. I guess one of the ways to help with that, to help you understand that, is to feel the frequency of the rabbit hole versus turning it in the other direction. The rabbit hole inquiry will just make you feel bad. You feel it in your gut, your stomach, and in your mind, and it puts you in a bad mood. If you turn it in the other direction, it can do completely the opposite. It's heart-based, it's opening, it's exciting, it's curious. So choose your frequency. That's what we're being asked to do right now, is to choose your frequency. Yeah, so they say start to question your thinking that feels so real to you, and the thoughts that swirl around your head holding you hostage. But they don't have to. They have done. But you've got to take control. It's your choice. And laugh at yourself. Laugh at the rabbit hole scenario, because it's madness, basically. It's the mind that's gone mad. But your heart never goes mad. It's just, it doesn't operate like the mind. It's a felt sense. It's soul-based. It's connected to your soul energy. So just find, without judging yourself, just find the humour in it, and then maybe it'll squirrel away and not bother you as much. And again, it's important never to judge, because everyone does it, and it's a collective consciousness event. It's not something that's unique to you, but there are varying degrees of madness that we can all see outside on this world stage at the moment. And understanding that the thoughts come from a conditioned mind, from a collective and individual mind. And just to sort of add on to that as well, the creative energy. So, it would be a very difficult place if every thought created something in front of you. The world would be mad. Very, very mad. But what creates is the intensity of your feelings and emotions around repetitive thought processes, and the universe is giving you through frequency what you're feeling about, what you're sensing, how you perceive your reality. It will give you, because it's unconditionally loving, everything that you want. As I say, thankfully it's not everything in terms of your thoughts, and a lot of thoughts are just waste. There's thousands of them swirling around your head that just disappear into nothing. But if you constantly judge yourself, condemn yourself, tell yourself you're not good enough in work or relationships and other things, then that's going to show up in your reality. That's not to frighten you, because it works the other way as well. So if you're constantly thinking or have a propensity to feel positively, to feel loving towards yourself and others, then that's going to show up in your reality. Those other vibrations and frequencies will disappear. They'll literally not be in your reality anymore. The freedom that true presence brings to you when you start to realize how futile your thinking really is, even though it feels like the only way to function to you. Just stop for a moment and realize how many thousands of thoughts circle around inside of you, the constant ambush of trying to work out so much. The dependency on what you have always known to be true for you. To be asked to start to think less is a hard thing for you to try and do. It's a repetition of the earlier statement. They're reinforcing the noise, the swirling thoughts, and changing your thoughts to a more peaceful one. And one of the ways that I do that is just becoming aware of your thoughts. Once you think about your thoughts, you become arm's length for it. You create space between your thoughts and yourself, and you're no longer entangled in them. And then you can come back from that, of becoming more aware of being aware of your thoughts, until you create a distance where they no longer have anything to do with you. They're not related to you. There's some sort of invasive energy that came in that's not yours. So becoming conscious, aware of your thoughts is the way forward. And then consciously thinking about peace, and consciously thinking about love, and consciously thinking about creating a better planet, and a better community. I'm conscious of that as well. And as you do, they show up in your reality. A new way of being is being asked of you. Your soul self speaks to you in the present, but not how you are used to it. It communicates softly in the in-between of your thinking. Sometimes it gets your attention by perceived bad things happening to you. The moments in life where your thinking mind just can't fathom what to do. So the DC is suggesting that soul is going to speak or communicate to us in a new way. So the pause is the space between, and that's how they can come in. It's where the heart opens and the soul energy sends pockets of information through your heart, which can appear as intuition. It can appear as a knowing. For some people, they have a clear connection, a line of communication that comes through in different ways. The psychic abilities and all those clairsentient, clairaudient, all of those things. And it comes through the pause. It's the space between. And so it's the exact opposite of how we communicate in this third dimensional world that we live in. So we communicate through talking, and it's activity. But we communicate with the non-physical through the space between the talking and the mind business. It's exactly the opposite. Where that goes for the human species in the future, I'm not sure. I don't imagine we'll lose our voices, but maybe we will at some point, but not for a long, long time. But in order to get divine guidance and guidance from your soul and your guides, then that's got to come through the pause and the space between. I just noted here as well that in the past we've looked to others for our knowing, peers, groups, political world, religious world, and those things are being proven to be, no longer functional in our society. The threads are being pulled out of the distortions that they've been, that are fed into our society that no longer work. And so it's encouraging us to rely on ourselves for guidance and our soul connection and whoever our spirit team is. And again, that requires this pause scenario, and we won't be required to listen to other people, idols and whatnot to show us the way in life. We'll just know it ourselves. Again, a completely different way of human existence. I also just noted here as well that I often come across clients who come in where they appear to be stuck between a rock and a hard place and cannot see a way out. And their mind can't. It's already exhausted everything. They drove themselves mad thinking, what am I going to do? And to the point of despair, or I surrender. And when they surrender and they do find a pause, something shifts. Space and movement open up and energy comes in. And that's the heart opening again, the soul energy coming through, and all of a sudden the magic happens and something changed. And that's generally not something that they've done, it's just happened, and they're like, oh my God, how did that happen? How did I get out of this seemingly impossible situation? It's because they found the stillness, they found the pause, there was nowhere to go but just surrender, and then the answer came in. So the more and more we can rely on ourselves to surrender, to listen to the pause, to sit quietly, then the guidance will come through. The soul self speaks to you in the present. It's in the moment that you feel it alive within you. It doesn't speak in words but through feelings. The more you put your attention on how you are feeling, the more you can activate the connection within you. If you're always in your head, you are denying the activation that can happen for you. That's why life comes in to assist you. Everything is happening for you, even in those times when it feels like it isn't. So the DC are repeating the importance of feelings once again, felt sense. Moving from the mind to the heart is a feeling energy. It will become more and more known to you through the felt sense. Different energies will come in, different perceptions and responses to scenario, situation, challenges, people. The barometer inside you will be the heart energy, and you'll just know instantaneously how to respond and how to behave. They're switching. It's the same thing from the mind to the heart. It's from thinking to feeling. It's the same energy, just described in a different way. And they say that's why life comes in to assist you. If you're not listening, then things happen to you, don't they? And challenges come in that force you to feel. And if you've been resisting feeling anything, then sometimes that can be quite a difficult situation. but they're stressing, it's not meant to hurt you, it's meant to capture your attention. Come on, let's feel this situation. And if you avoid it through whatever method you choose, then you're denying yourself an opportunity to feel and then move to the next base, to get on the next rung of the ladder. Don't deny yourself feeling, even if it doesn't feel good. There's nothing cruel, there's nothing judgmental about challenges that come into your life. And if you just listen to those, descriptive words, they're very low vibration. And instead, it's looking up and going, okay, well, what's the opportunity here? What am I being shown? What's being asked of me? And what's the opportunity? And by design, it's not like we're at school. Well, maybe it is in some way, but not the school that we understand, the academia. It's the school of life, the schooling of the soul. And as we go through these challenges and as we process through feeling, things clear in your body and in your energetic field, and it's preparing us for the new iteration of the human experience. We don't want to take old energy into the new iteration. It won't allow us. It won't work there. It's like a programming that just doesn't fit it. It won't happen. And they also say here about the felt sense and basically how the universe coming in. It doesn't always come in ways that are challenging. It comes in as a sunset or a sunrise or a nature experience. Something to catch you. I mean, everybody's sat and looked at a sunset or a sunrise and just been still and quiet. Even if you're with somebody, you just sit and stare at it, and it has a visceral response. So it's capturing your attention to feel whenever it can. And the more and more you become observant of it and understand that that's what it's trying to do, the more and more it'll show up. They say it feels like it's the external that's affecting you, which to some extent, of course, it is, yet we remind you that it's actually taking you back to you. And that is the theme of this week's report, asking you in becoming stronger within you. Again, this is challenges and also wonderful things, just stepping in. And there's not a moment in our life where something isn't stepping in. You just have to pay attention and pause and be quiet and notice things. Sharpening up your connection to you so that when the world becomes a little more crazy than it currently is, you are able to summon up a feeling of peace and inner strength from within you. A feeling that despite what you might be witnessing, the divide, the fear, you are strong in how it affects you, not in a way that sees you being completely indifferent, no, in a way that enables you to hold the frequency of love at a time where there would be so much fear. If you practice self-awareness now, if you practice the heart-soul connection, if you practice taking control of your thoughts and start to notice the benefits of it when, things do get a bit more spicy, then you'll be so much more prepared and able to deal with it. Because if you think it's spicy now, then, there's a lot more to come. And the reason being is because people are waking up and they no longer tolerate what's being shown to us by politicians and religious leaders and various other forms. And, that horse is bolted. We cannot go back in that old energy. And so it's going to get worse until it gets better, because we're going to demand collapse. We're going to demand change. And so we have to hold the energy of unconditional love in that space. There will be some people here on the planet, souls that have come here to be activists, change makers, new ideas coming in from different, all over the world in different ways, that are here to help us. And as light workers or energy workers, I guess I'm reaching out to those right now. It's your responsibility, our responsibility, to hold the frequency, hold the energy of unconditional love, hold the light frequencies, and so we can move through these turbulent times with ease and grace. It's our responsibility to manage our own vibration. Don't get drawn into the dramas. You know, send love out to all those people that are having a difficult time, but don't go into the energy yourself. What we speak of isn't a wishy-washy love. It's an inner knowing of the divine you, a knowing that things are having to play out the way they are and that a world divide is occurring. It's the split between the mind and heart. You know, so we live in a dualistic life experience where we've had free will and choice, and the duality is the contrast from which we've learnt from. I understand from, you know, greater knowledge that that duality experience is coming to an end and we're moving into a more heart-based environment where we operate from unconditional love, as the DC have been repeating. So the duality is being shown to us first in the mirror, looking at your own self, how you judge and condemn yourself or otherwise, and on the world stage, which is clear and obvious and one that I don't need to repeat here, but it's there for everyone to look at. And it's by design, it's for reason, so that we can dismantle the dualistic perspective and come back to oneness. And they're saying this is the simplest way to explain what will occur. So the ones who will be so steeped in fear that in many cases they will be forced to feel a sense of something bigger than them beckoning them, offering them solace in a way they can't understand. And that's when those who we would call the wise ones come in and take the lead, showing the world that there's a different way to live and be. Your voices, causes, heart-led action and passions will all start to be more strongly activated now. They're coming from within you. There is purpose behind all that is delivered here to you today. Remember who you really are, is what we really wish to say. A grand remembering is underway. You know, we're really in it right now, and it's a huge time in the human experience, and there's going to be a lot of people struggling with that. So you send them love and compassion, help those where needed, and they're suggesting the wise ones, and I suppose the wiser ones, I guess if you're listening to this, I guess you're in some way involved in either helping others or in the healing realms, or definitely passionate about helping humanity and the planet. So there's a lot of us here. Stay in your lane. Listen to those voices, or that communication that's coming from within you through that pause. And you'll start to remember who you really are, and all the qualities that have been hidden and waiting in the background will come to the fore, and you'll find ways to help others that you haven't noticed or expected before. So get excited about that. And yeah, I think that's me done for number 11. Do you have anything you wish to add?
No, I don't. I think that you have covered it extremely well and comprehensively. And yeah, no, I don't. It's great.
Great. Well, we've already filmed number 12, a little letting the cat out of the bag, and there's something special coming up in number 12 too, a little meditation that's going to help us. It's a support to this, which I think why we ended up filming two together, because they very much one segues nicely into the other, and there's going to be a wonderful meditation for you to enjoy next week. So tune in for number 12, and yeah, we look forward to seeing you then. Yeah. Sending lots of love to everyone, and
see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.